Dear audience, hello and welcome back to this set of series of lectures aiming to demystify the book of Agile Practice Guide issued by PMI. This is actually a part of a long set of series for the project management course. This one will be the introductory lecture, which is lecture number 1. So let's just start with this introduction. Here we want to introduce the approach of Agile or Agile. Okay, two types of pronunciation. You can pronounce it Agile or Agile. I'll be using the term Agile or the pronunciation Agile throughout the course. So the Agile approach is a dynamic and iterative methodology primarily used in software development and project management. That was the beginning actually of Agile when it was first introduced in the early decade of this century, around 2001, as we will see later. But actually now Agile is being used in project or as a project management approach for a wider scope of projects, including but not limited to educational projects, medical projects, and other types of projects, but mainly still it's being more used in software development. It emphasizes flexibility, so it's flexible. This is derived from even the name. Name Agile means flexible. Collaboration between teams and stakeholders, and customer satisfaction, allowing teams to respond rapidly to changes in the requirements of the stakeholders, and again on the technical implications that follow these changes and requirements. So they have to respond rapidly. The team or the teams have to respond rapidly to these changes and deliver high quality product or products incrementally. So in this lecture we will delve into the creation of a conducive environment for Agile practices, emphasizing leadership style, team composition, and organizational structure or organizational culture. We'll start by defining Agile. What do you mean by Agile? So, Agile is a mindset defined by values, guided by principles, and manifested through many different practices. So, we have a set of values which we'll define, and these values are guided by some other set of principles. We will also go through these principles, and all of this is manifested through many different practices, and we will also see these practices. We'll start by introducing the core values. So Agile is mainly built on 4 key values from the Agile Manifesto. These 4 core values are individuals and interactions over processes and tools. So those of you who are familiar with traditional project management methodologies, certainly know that the traditional or the classic project management methodologies emphasize more on processes, sub-processes, tools, and techniques, and the interactions between all of these processes as being inputs and outputs to each other. This is a traditional way of managing projects, or the traditional methodologies for project management. But here we have more emphasis on individuals and the interactions between these individuals over the interaction or relationships between processes and tools. Okay, so we have individuals. Then number 2 is working software over comprehensive documentation. So instead of having a big set of documents and getting these documents updated between now and then or every now and then, we have to care about the working software rather than a lot of documentation. This doesn't mean that we don't have documentation, but the level of documentation is not that big, it's not comprehensive, so more emphasis is given to the working components of the software. Then we have the customer collaboration over contract negotiation. We all know that mainly in the traditional or classic ways of project management, we care more about defining the holders' requirements. So we have actually, first of all, to identify the stakeholders and then go into identifying and defining the stakeholders' requirements. And then the interaction or the collaboration with the stakeholders would decline when we go further into the project or go further into the project life cycle. But here, customer collaboration is being done and maintained throughout the project life cycle. So more into customer collaboration. Then responding to change over following a plan. So instead of having a large set of plans like in classical methodologies, we have, for example, the cost management plan, we have the schedule or time management plan, we have the quality management plan, we have the communication management plan, we have the risk management plan, so many plans, and then we have a comprehensive project management plan. But here, instead of following a set of plans or a specific plan, we respond to the changes coming or originating from the collaboration of customers rather than having a comprehensive plan. Why Agile? Okay. These are the advantages of Agile: adaptability. So Agile helps organizations respond to changes quickly and effectively, and we have seen this. Okay, so it's more flexible, higher rate of response, quick responses, effective responses to the changes. Then customer focus. So Agile emphasizes delivering value to customers and incorporating their feedback continuously all over the project life cycle. And then risk management. Okay, risk management is always there, but again, there is a more emphasis on risk management in Agile. So Agile allows for early detection of issues. Why? Because customer collaboration or stakeholder collaboration is always there throughout the project life cycle. So it's easier to detect issues and risks in an early stage, okay, facilitating timely interventions to identify these risks and issues and respond to the risks. Let's now talk about the principles. Okay. As we mentioned, we have 12 principles that promote iterative progress, collaboration, and flexibility. Let's go through them one by one. So these are the principles of Agile. Number one is the customer satisfaction through early and continuous delivery of valuable software, and we have mentioned this, that customer is a core for us in Agile, and there is a continuous monitoring of the customer requirements and care about the satisfaction of the customer. Then welcome changing requirements even late in development, which is not advisable. It's really a problem when it comes to a traditional way of managing projects. Changing requirements are never welcomed, but here in Agile we welcome changes, okay, even if they are late. That has been very risky, or is very risky in classical way of project management. We cannot allow requirements or changing requirements in later stages. It might be disastrous and might lead to failure of projects in classical or traditional way of project management. But here in Agile, it's no problem. We always welcome changing requirements even late in development. Then third principle is delivering working software frequently with a preference for shorter time scales. So we deliver working chunks of software or components of software with a preference for shorter time scales. We deliver, always delivering working software over short time scales. Business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. So there is a daily interaction. There should be a daily interaction between the developers and the business people or the stakeholders, the customers. Build projects, number 5, build projects around motivated individuals and give them the environment and support they need. Okay, so this is very important that we build our teams and then build the projects around these teams, the individuals and the teams, and we build them the environment that's suitable for them, and we support them and give them full support as they need. We'll continue with number 6. The most efficient and effective method for conveying information is face-to-face conversation. So this is the optimum way of communication, face-to-face communication. Okay, rather than writing documents, letters, emails, and these things. No, face-to-face conversation is the most efficient and effective method. Working software is the primary measure of progress. We gauge our progress against working software. So this is the way to measure the progress, is that we deliver a measurable chunk or part of software. Agile processes promote sustainable development, so we have to sustain development, always we are developing. Then continuous attention to technical excellence and good design, which is very clear. Simplicity. We try to simplify everything. This is the art of maximizing the amount of work not done which is very essential, to be quite simple. The best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. So teams would organize themselves to get the best architectures, the requirements, and the designs. Number 12, at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective. Because there are meetings and these things. We will talk about this later. Actually, these two principles will come to them later during our lectures. Not this lecture, but probably in becoming few lectures. Just a brief introduction to the evolution of Agile. Actually, the methodologies contained in Agile, or that led to the emerging of Agile, emerged in the 1990s, and that was in response to limitations of traditional project management approaches, especially to promote the software projects. So a number of lightweight software development methods evolved in reaction to prevailing heavyweight methods, and often referred to collectively as waterfall. That's the traditional. And the waterfall methodology was criticized, or is criticized, as being overly regulated, overly planned, and micromanaged, which is not the case with Agile. Little planning, still there is planning, there are regulations, there is planning, but no micromanagement. The Agile Manifesto actually started or came into real life in 2001, and that was through the Agile Alliance, or a group of 17 software developers who created this Agile Manifesto to define the values and principles of the Agile development. That was just a small historical background. This is a comparison, quick comparison between the traditional project management and Agile. First, we'll talk about predictive versus adaptive. Traditional project management, or the waterfall, as we might call them, depend on the predictive way. To predict what would happen in the future. And because of this, they focus on upfront planning, comprehensive planning. We cannot start without comprehensive plans. And planning takes a lot of effort, and any problem in the planning would cause a lot of problems when we go into the construction phase, or throughout the project life cycle. Even monitoring and controlling and everything would be very difficult. Closing might also suffer. That's the case with the predictive approach of traditional project management. But in Agile, it's adaptive. It's more adaptive. It adapts to the changes, focusing on iterative progress and flexibility. So no comprehensive upfront planning is required. But again, this doesn't mean no planning is done at all, but no comprehensive upfront planning is required. Documentation in traditional methods, we have a comprehensive emphasis on documentation, but in Agile, we prioritize working software and customer collaboration, and we have mentioned this before. Change management in traditional methods, we handle changes through formal change control process, which those of you who know, we have what we call the CCB change control board, and the project manager has to do a lot of effort to submit a change request and then argue and follow up with the CCB to approve the changes, and that's a really tough procedure and takes a hell of time. Whereas in Agile, we welcome changes at any stage, so it's more simple. This is a summary, okay, in a table format. This is a table. So between traditional and Agile, okay. So the approach is predictive with a lot of planning for traditional and very little planning when it comes to Agile, more adaptive. Planning is done upfront, comprehensive. Here it's iterative and incremental. Documentation is extensive and traditional. In Agile is minimal as needed. Okay, so still planning is there, and documentation is there, but less and done in a different way. Change management, here is formal change control. Okay, and even configuration control goes the same, but here we welcome changes at any time. Customer involvement is limited to key milestones, especially in the beginning, but here it's in Agile is continuous throughout the project lifecycle. Success measure conforms to plan is the success measure for traditional project management. Here working product and value is the gauge or the success measure, so which is a deliverable, final or some sort of a deliverable. These are some of the practices. Okay, we'll talk here about the practices and frameworks. Let's first start with the practices. This includes iterative development. Iterative development is actually the process where software is developed and delivered in small, manageable portions called iterations or sprints. So I have the term iterations or sprints. So small, manageable portions of software, okay, are done into iterations or sprints. Each iteration involves planning, designing, coding, and testing a part of the overall project. So the overall project is divided into small, manageable tasks or projects. Okay, allowing team to refine and improve product throughout the feedback and continuous improvement, because everything is subdivided into smaller portions that can be easily managed. Continuous integration. So it's the practice where developers frequently integrate their code changes and share in a repository, usually multiple times a day. Okay, so all of the developers are interacting together and they share the changes they do on their code. Okay, and they share it on a repository multiple of times every day. Each integration is automatically tested to detect integration issues at an early stage to make sure that there is no problem of integration, ensuring that the software remains in a functional or functioning state and reducing the risk of bugs accumulating over time. Test-driven development, or sometimes called TDD, it's a software development approach where tests are written before the actual code. So developers actually first write a test for specific function before writing the actual code, then produce a minimum amount of code to pass the test and make sure that this minimum amount of code does pass the test. And finally, refactor the code to meet acceptable standards. This is beneficial and helpful because it ensures that the code is continuously tested and leads to higher quality software with less effort, less time spent, so more efficient. Pair programming. Pair programming is an Agile practice where two developers work together on the same code at the same workstation. But how does this happen? It happens in this way. One developer called the driver, okay? So one of the two pairs called the driver writes the code, while the other observes, or who called the observer or navigator, reviews each line of the code as it is written. This collaboration leads to higher quality code and knowledge sharing and knowledge transfer among the team members. So they share their common, their thinkings, their experiences, okay, and the way they look into that part of code that they are doing together. Then we go into the frameworks, which we mentioned before, that they started actually in the 1990s. These are the bases for these frameworks are the basis for Agile. So this is a list of the frameworks, includes Scrum, Kanban, Lean, Extreme Programming, and Crystal. Let's go into them one by one. Actually, Scrum, Lean, and Kanban are the most important. Let's start with the Scrum, which is an Agile framework for managing and completing complex projects. What we do in Scrum, we break work into iterative cycles called sprints. Okay, so these cycles are called sprints. Typically, these sprints last for 2 to 4 weeks. Sometimes less than this, okay, but never more than 4 weeks. Sometimes it might last a week, but usually it's 2 to 4 weeks. Scrum involves roles like productive owner, Scrum Master, and development team, and ceremonies such as sprint planning or ceremonies such as sprint planning, daily stand-ups, sprint reviews, and retrospectives to ensure continuous improvement and delivery of valuable increments. Actually, these are terminologies related to Scrum. Okay, we will also go through these details of Scrum in a separate lecture. It will take some time, but it's just as an introduction to Scrum. It's just a sort of breaking work into iterative cycles called sprints. This is the most important thing to know now. Other things are more specialized, and we might talk about them later in a separate lecture. Kanban, okay, which is a Japanese word, is some sort of a visual workflow management method that helps teams visualize their work and some sort of a visual workflow, okay, to limit the work in progress, try to reduce the amount of work in progress and optimize the flow, that everything is going in sequence. It uses a Kanban board with columns representing different stages of the workflow, where tasks move from left, which are to do, or to do's, to the right, that done. Kanban emphasizes continuous delivery, efficiency, and adaptability. Again, this is something that needs time to explain, but at least now we introduced this framework. Lean is also an agile methodology focused on delivering maximum value of customers by eliminating waste. This is leaning. Leaning, what we mean by leaning is, making small, making thinner, or making less. So we make the waste less. So whether less in production, waste in time, and improving the processes by eliminating unnecessary work or unnecessary processes. It's originating from the lean manufacturing, and it emphasizes principles such as value stream mapping, just-in-time delivery, which is actually trademark of Toyota company, okay, just-in-time, or JIT, and continuous improvement, Kaizen, okay, to enhance efficiency, reduce costs, and increase customer satisfaction. Extreme programming, it's again an agile software development methodology, and it aims at improving software quality and responsiveness to changing customer requirements. Okay, so because we rely or we care about the customer requirements, and we know that they might change. XP helps us to be more responsive to the customer requirements and produce software of high quality and response. XP practices include pair programming, we have mentioned before, test-driven development, which we also mentioned, continuous integration, and frequent releases in short development cycles. XP emphasizes customer satisfaction, communication, simplicity, and feedback. And the last framework is the Crystal framework, which is a methodology that focuses on uniqueness of each project and team. It recognizes that different projects may require different processes and practices based on their size, criticality, and priority. Crystal promotes frequent delivery, close communication, and continuous improvement while being highly adaptable to the specific needs of the project team. The question comes here, in Agile, do we really have to use all of these frameworks? No, not necessarily. We might use one or two of them, we might use a collection of them, but not always we use all of them. Now we come into the uncertainty, risk, and life cycle selection. Okay, so always when we work, we are in the environment of uncertainty, and we try to work as much as we can and live with this uncertainty, but with different levels. So uncertainty is managed through the iterative development, allowing teams to adapt to changes and new information. And because risk is always associated with uncertainty, so risks are mitigated by frequent testing, feedback loops, and incremental deliveries, ensuring potential issues are identified early. And this is the very special about Agile is that issues are identified early. So we have a chance to a fast response to the risks, and hence eliminate the issues before risks turn into issues. We respond to these risks and mitigate the risks. The life cycle in Agile involves continuous planning, execution, and evaluation across short sprints. We have mentioned this before. okay, about the short sprints, okay, fostering ongoing improvement and flexibility throughout the project. Let's see some sort of uncertainty diagram or model. In this model, we define two types of uncertainty. One is the technical degree of uncertainty related to us as a team. We are not sure how technically we would do or implement the software or that part of the project that we need. So something related to technical issues. Okay. We also have some other type of uncertainty that is related to requirements. Okay, requirements of the customer or the stakeholder requirements. So these are the requirements uncertainty. So we have technical degree of uncertainty versus requirements uncertainty. And here we go from low to high. So here this point is a low uncertainty, low level of uncertainty, and here we have a high level of uncertainty related to requirements. And here on the horizontal line we have a low level of uncertainty related to technical degree, to technical issues, okay, or low technical degree of uncertainty. And then here we have a higher, when we go forward, we have a higher level of technical degree of uncertainty. Then we have four regions, okay. When we have low technical degree of uncertainty and low requirements uncertainty, this is the green region, which is simple, okay, it's simple. And here linear issues, we can use linear or predictive issues. It's very simple, it's easy to manage, so no need actually for Agile here. No, Agile is not really needed here. You can still use, but no need to use it. You can just go to traditional methods. Then we have this region with some moderate level of uncertainty, okay, and here also some moderate to higher level, here some moderate to higher level of uncertainty, okay. This is the complicated, okay, this we call it complicated region. And when we go forward, okay, this is the complex, okay, region. In both the complicated region and the complex region, we use the Agile, okay, in complicated and complex projects associated with some sort of higher rate of technical degree of uncertainty and technical requirements as some sort of high requirements uncertainty. But when it comes to very high or quite high degree of uncertainty related to technical issues and high rates of uncertainty related to requirements, this is chaos. This is actually such projects are not recommended. We don't recommend to go into such projects. This is chaos. Fundamentally risky, high. These are associated with high risk, so potentially they'll fail. Okay, very difficult to manage such projects. It's not advisable to accept those projects with high requirements or very high requirements uncertainty and very high technical degree of uncertainty. So we have to avoid this region. Okay, I hope this is clear. So this region again, this is a simple region where linear approaches, predictive approaches might be used. Here, the complicated and the complex, we use the agile or the adaptive approach. Here, the red region, we have to avoid, or at least try to decrease the uncertainty, to bring them back here to complex or complicated. In conclusion, to end up, adapting agile approach to the unique challenges of the projects can enhance collaboration, transparency, and responsiveness to stakeholder needs throughout the project life cycle. And this is why Agile is important and effective, and this is why it's gaining more and more recognition and being more adapted by different types of projects, and as I mentioned, especially in educational healthcare projects, and more especially in software projects. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this first lecture, introductory lecture, and thank you for being attentive. See you soon in the next lecture. For similar material and similar lectures, please subscribe to my channel on YouTube, AGHA Academy at AGHA Academy. Okay, and follow us on Facebook, and share the knowledge. Thank you again, and see you in the next lecture.